long-form, open discussion podcast. Topics include sensitive issues such as sex, religion, politics, race, gender, death, BDSM, MFM, CFNM, MMF, MMFM, and healthcare. Do not try this at home.
Get your motherfucking ass up when I'm talking.
So hold on tight. The action starts now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
And here we go.
As we'll kick this thing off. First off, I gotta tell you, woo! It is hot here. I'm sweating like R. Kelly at a daycare. Damn. It's hot as fuck in northern Michigan right now. So you gotta respect that stuff. I got the baby powder on standby.
Yeah.
You ever use baby powder on your nuts?
I have previously. I don't currently.
So we do a lot of slip seating where I work. You know, you jump around different trucks.
Yeah.
And one of the trucks I found the baby powder, and I wanted to use it, but it's weird to use somebody else's baby powder.
Yeah, ain't nothing like community nut powder.
Well, because it's not like... So when I was in the Navy, I used, what is it, shower to shower or whatever. That's that very soft, silky stuff.
Maybe.
And so I would put my leg up on the second rack, and I would throw it in there like a pitcher. Just launch it at my nuts.
Yeah.
And then it would liberally fall all over the necessary crevasses and areas.
Yes.
But I feel like this situation, these guys are just getting a handful of it and putting it down there and kind of working it in the areas, and I'm not cool with that. Because then
maybe it was a suggestion that they didn't want sweaty nut seat, so use the powder liberally.
It looks like the bottle's been handled quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's greasy fingerprints on it. I think there's a name that was written in marker that's kind of smudged off.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Jump out, throw hoses, nuts get sweaty, get back in, douse with powder, repeat as necessary.
And women don't realize that. I know they go through childbirth a lot. I know they have issues once a month in which their body cleanses themselves of old tissue. But nuts are a lot. There's a lot to deal with nuts. You can sit on them accidentally, like they slide under. You try to shave them, so you're doing a lot of pulling and stretching. And it's weird because, when I got a physical, the doctor was like, you got to give yourself a testicular exam. He's like, you got to feel for a lump. It's like, motherfucker, I feel two. What are you talking about? Have you ever given yourself a fucking ball exam?
I handle my balls quite regularly.
I'm just saying, because we're around the same age. You're 46, I'm 38. And you got to fucking... And they tell you to, feel for it. And then you're scared. Because then there's a vein, and there's, the ropey thing that connects it, and that can't be it. But I don't know what the fuck... I'm not a medical professional. I don't know what I'm looking for. You're twisting it. You're moving it.
You've had your sack several years. I mean, at this point, you ought to be pretty familiar with it.
Well, several years is right because they dropped somewhere around 2003.
Damn.
It's called cryptorchidism, undescended testicles. They finally decided to join the party shortly after the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah, there you go.
But it worries me because I turned 38 a couple days ago, and so okay. So you remember back in the day how you had to get your oil change every 3,000 miles?
Fuck, nigga. Yeah, you're discounted.
No, I'm just
half the country already.
No, I'm just becoming. I've hit my stride. My life is now that who's that country singer that everybody loves? That sang Indian Outlaw.
Yeah,
no, you know that guy that sang Indian Outlaw? What's his name? Tim McGraw, right?
Tim McGraw.
I'm looking forward to my next 30 years.
Oh, okay.
So I just hit my stride. But you know how the old thing about cars is you got to change your oil every 3,000 miles? But now that's not really the case because cars are more efficient. Do you still have to get the prostate exam at 40?
You probably need to start getting a prostate exam as soon as possible. But I mean, in such a liberated sexual community that we have now, I mean, people are probably getting prostate exams quite regular.
Well, I don't want to go in too early and I seem too eager. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
And I need to make sure.
Maybe just be bored in the shower one day and just do it yourself.
Write it down on a piece of paper, bring it into the doctor. I took care of it. I just need you to sign this. I put my finger up there. I got a surprising boner, but nothing happened. I think I'm okay.
Yeah, it was 1 3/4 knuckles deep to the top.
And all of a sudden, I started feeling like a ring, like a half a pack of Mentos.
Damn.
That's where those went.
Yeah, if that's the case, you might definitely need to go see an Indian doctor.
Well, and here's the thing too: is here's a confession. This is my confessions. Is I try to shit as hard as I can. You know what I mean? Like to get everything out, but I'm not confident that it always does. I feel like
that sounds
most
like
of the
roids,
milkshake
maybe.
goes through the straw, but there's still some. No, that's not roids. I know what
Yeah,
roids
that
are.
sounds
I've seen the
like
Wikipedia.
roids.
No,
Yeah.
it can't be roids. No, I have
Yeah, you
I
can't
have
be
taken.
shitting that hard and pushing that hard, nigga. You gonna blow veins, nigga.
Okay, I explained it wrong. I try to shit as efficiently and completely as possible.
It's thoroughly.
I sit there. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I sit there and I rock back and forth. Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to go the full cycle. I try to go
Yeah.
whole hog on this one,
Ho-ho.
but I don't think everything came out. I feel like what happens
Nigga,
is
just
like
take-
when like
drink
you're
a couple smoothies, man. Drink a couple smoothies.
like when you were a kid, a big brother or a bully, they'd sit over you and they would like spit and they would suck it back up. I feel like a lot of it. I feel like 96% of it gets out there, and then like. Side note: did you know peristalsis is?
What? Who?
Well, so peristalsis is that movement in your throat in which your muscles move things down your esophagus. Well, it's the same. You have a peristaltic thing going on with your asshole. So I feel like it pinches off like 96% of it, and then it just sucks up that little 4%. And it's like, oh, save this for later, or we kind of use this to grease the gears.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the start.
And so I'm afraid.
That's the catalyst.
And for the same reason that I'm afraid of like my wife or a random homeless woman like eating ass, is that there's that 4% left in there. You know what I mean?
Well, they sell the little stainless steel heads that you can put on the shower for an adapter to do enemas.
Is that really a thing?
Yeah, that's really a thing. My wholesaler for the sex toys has them.
You're a wholesaler?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your wholesaler. I thought you said you're an authorized. You're an authorized dealer. You have to go to meetings and stuff and stamp on products.
No. Yeah, but I got to order like so many of them. Like I'd have to order like 10 stainless enemas. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. You know, and that's a lot of enemas to kind of get off of out of a box. You know what I mean?
Well, and then you got to sell all those to make your nut.
Yeah. That's funny.
They're not gonna. You can't be selling like 4 and then think you're gonna show up to the yearly meeting and get your bonus.
Yeah. So, did anything interesting happen this week?
To me, no, not at all. Like, I got in a weird conversation.
Oh, we had two Homeland terrorism attacks. I just remembered that. I mean, I'm sure you got something intellectual to say about that shit.
Oh, I don't think anybody's been able to forget. That's all we've been hearing about. But you know, the interesting thing is two of them happened at Walmart. They happened at Walmart.
Yeah, of course they happened at Walmart.
One was at like a Walmart in El Paso, and then one was at like a Walmart.
Well, they said that
somewhere else.
Walmart's been in the news here recently or whatever. I guess their stock and shit was dipping, or they was closing stores because of Amazon. And I wonder if the two are connected.
You think the shooter was contracted by Amazon, or if
No,
Walmart's trying to do it to gain attention?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he had a bunch of stocks. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe the nigga was angry, or maybe it wasn't even.
Maybe
real.
he was Maybe he's a big fan of Amazon. He's like, free shipping, motherfucker! Bang!
Yeah. I mean, who don't like that shit? I mean, people don't like to go there and stand in a non-human fucking checkout line anyway. I mean,
I like Walmart.
I use the self-checkout simply because it's quicker than the humans. But Walmart fucking sucks. They have almost
it makes me
everything,
feel
right?
better to
With,
go
like,
in there.
That, they only have like 5 common puddings, but they won't have the pudding you're looking for, or they'll have like almost every kind of coffee, or like they'll have the top 3 things that sell nationwide. You know what I mean? But they don't have like the shit you can actually find at a real grocery store.
Well, how adorable is it that you said pudding?
Pudding.
I wish that came out of your mouth like the electric company so I could hug it. Like a balloon. Like a balloon animals. Pudding.
Yeah. I said something the other day to somebody, man. And I feel incredibly horrible about it. I said something that I at the time I was going off into a tangent that was unnecessary. I was overtired, mentally exhausted, and too emotionally connected to an issue that was arising at the time. And I went into a tangent off track, and I said something that I would normally say. However, in this particular situation, it was completely insensitive, and it was very thoughtless of myself, because this person had experienced something very close to the insensitive comment that I made. And at the same time as it was coming out my mouth, I felt the dread come over me for being so goddamn careless with what I was saying. Like, because I mean, a lot of times I'm no filter, and I mean that's a double-edged sword. And obviously, I caught the back end of the sword this time. But I felt like shit about it, man. It was fucking horrendous. It was horrendous. I felt worse about that than I did about seeing the shooting on TV.
This thing that you had responded to somebody with?
Yeah, I said something incredibly insensitive. I mean, it wouldn't have been insensitive in a normal situation, but being this individual had been through something of this effect. Anyways, sometimes it's good to slow down, but I had no business even being there. I was overtired. I was emotionally fucking drained. I was preoccupied by, what had brought everybody together, and it was a horrific situation, and I had no business being there. I knew better than to go, but I was required for work. And, so I went, and, shit got said, but neither here nor there. I felt bad about it. I just needed to put that on the record.
Well, you do have to be conscious about what you say. I think 4 of the major religions in the world are adamant about right speech, the kind of things, and how conscientious you are about what comes out of your mouth.
Timing. It's timing.
Timing. It's all timing. Timing.
Timing's a
Sex
motherfucker.
and muggy and strong arm robbery somebody is all about timing.
Diamond nigga. Yeah, man, I don't know, dude. I got to get this weed grow off the ground. That's kind of where I'm at with it now. I've realized how vulnerable I am to other people's control that they have over my life. I've allowed myself to get too comfortable and expectant of other people's decisions, which is completely against everything nature has instilled in me. And now I'm
Jesus, dude, I'm sitting right here.
And it's an uncomfortable feeling. Yeah, I know. I gotta figure out how to put this all together, because nigga need to eat now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like the time for fucking around is kind of over for me, right? So I've tried to be like super normal for a while, and now it's time to make some moves, man. Now it's it's really time to get out here and motherfucking eat. Like you talking about, niggas real talk. Like next conversation we have, niggas will be like 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, it's my birthday. I just turned 50.
50?
Yeah. I mean, not really, but you get what I'm saying. Time flies. The older you get, the quicker your perception of time comes on you. I mean, it runs up on you. When a nigga was like 13, you couldn't wait to be, 18 and so forth. And it felt like fucking forever. It felt like a prison sentence, you know what I'm saying? But now out here in the real world, looking at, it's like, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? Where it go? That shit ran by me, you know what I'm saying? So it's either that or I need to start.
Well, I don't feel that because I work around a lot of old motherfuckers.
Yeah, but I guess it's different because I got a lot of young niggas around me now. I'm not the young nigga no more. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm looking at this guy. He's like 72, crawling under a fucking diesel truck, replacing an alternator or whatever you call it.
yeah.
And that kind of helps me go, damn, I got some time.
Yeah, you do, but not really, because that's the same thing that nigga said, and then he woke up and he was still laying underneath the truck putting in an alternator. So, which it probably been.
Yeah, but there's a difference. There's a difference.
But we're not gonna argue mechanics, schematics. But go ahead.
Look, before you start scaring me, because you like to terrify me with my mortality,
Yeah,
we have to
you
look
old
at
as
this in a
fuck,
different
nigga.
page. We have to look at this in a different page.
Okay, go ahead, tell me.
I like to think that I like to think that I hit my stride just recently. I spent
Okay,
a
that's
good
what I was
number of
saying,
years.
a decade and a half late.
I like to think that I would. I spent a good number of years fucking up, trying to decide things, and actually, and kind of just letting life blow by. But I do have a lot of good memories, a lot of good experiences, and I like to look at myself like I've built upon those, and I'm at a happy point in my life where I can look at things and see the value in the lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all day.
So like the shit that happened with me with the guy I worked for, I look at that as a lesson. The moving around trying to chase the money, I look at that as a lesson. The bullshit, everything that happens to me now reflects on me as like a lesson. And I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe this time, blah, 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 or maybe you shouldn't. So the one thing that I learned, it's what you kind of said, and is when I worked for that guy and then this happened to me, it instantly taught me that you will fail 100% of the time trying to hinge your dreams on someone else.
Yes.
And thinking about that as what helped me move on, not completely, but helped me move along in terms of like, well, it was fucked up what happened, but you can't, you will fail every time if you try to hitch your fucking train on somebody else and go, okay, well, this is going to take me to happiness. Because that's his happiness. That's what he wants.
Yes.
Which is nothing close to my happiness. I drove by his house
No.
today on the way, taking my kids to go
Damn.
do some shit. No, not like a stalker. Not like a stalker. His house happens to be on the quickest path to this different city.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take
And
your word for it.
it is. And I drove by because I have my family. Because I'm not world star hip hop. Like, fuck this motherfucker. I'm gonna see what he's up to. Drove by and saw. I'm gonna talk out of church here. That he had. He'd bought like a 1969 Suburban because he wanted a toy, and then he's just dropping an incredible amount of fucking money trying to fix this thing, right? I think more than the actual vehicle's worth. But I drove by and saw he had that motherfucker in his driveway now, right? And then instead of getting upset, I looked at it like, all right, that's his fucking happiness. I would never in a million years want some stupid shit like that, but
I would love
that's
that
his
being old
happiness.
bourbon, but that's definitely not on the front burner. You know what I'm saying? I think the first thing,
No.
the first
When
thing
I hit
really
it-
want to do, the first thing a nigga really want to do is secure the homestead, man. I want me a nice, quaint, a not oversized fucking home. You know what I'm saying? Something that that okay, boom, that's good. Now I can build upon this. You know what I mean? And then from there, I think the rest for me is really the ride.
I think I would get a Scout, but that's just me.
Yeah, Scout. I got you. I want a 67, 66, something like that. Some big body Chevy, mid 60s. Where I can let the top back and have a marching band in the motherfucking trunk. You know what I'm saying? And just, I want a necklace that costs as much as a bitch house. But, that's my little fringe. That's not my make or break. That's just, I don't know. That's something I would enjoy.
And here's another a bit of positivity I'm going to spill on you.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for this?
I'm listening.
I'm going to say
I'm
three
getting
words.
that
Rodney
ready to spill
motherfucking Dangerfield. Rodney motherfucking Dangerfield. You know who that is?
I thought you was going to say KFC, but I think the stories are similar.
KFC. I'm the Colonel. No, so Popeyes is better. Shout out to Popeyes. You could be a sponsor. So, plus the CEO, if that's really the CEO, that black chick in those commercials, God, I'd fucking go face first in that. I don't care what it smells like. Anyways, Rodney Dangerfield.
Cajun.
You know who I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about. That's the ugliest
No,
motherfucker
no
white
respect.
motherfucker I ever met. Yeah.
Caddyshack. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? No respect. No respect. Rodney Dangerfield spent his life trying to be a stand-up comic. Failed. So, much less ghetto, but in the same mentality, he's like, I got to feed my family. This isn't working. And he spent, and I could be, I may have the numbers wrong. Same spirit. I think he spent the next decade of his life selling aluminum siding to provide for his family.
Yeah, he looked like a goddamn aluminum siding seller.
Yeah. Oh, you'll love this. It'll look beautiful on your home when your wife gets with the new guy. So,
yeah.
At 46 years old, he tried his hand at stand-up again. 46 years old. That's when he fucking went on. That's when he made it.
He finally had
That's when he was like, "Hey, I gotta do something." And now his motherfucking suit and tie is hanging in the Smithsonian, an American treasure.
Yeah.
There's not a comic alive, that's at least 40 years old that hadn't met Rodney that doesn't praise him. And apparently he had a giant dick.
Damn. He looked like a nigga with a big dick.
Because I guess near the end of his life, he used to fucking do stand-up in like a robe. Just a robe, that's it. And so he'd sit there and his fucking hog would be hanging out. But that's a hard thing to tell, too, because that's the difference between growing and showing. Because it's like, it's like, and then you got to look at, it goes back to perception. Some people say, C cup tits are big. I think it's double D's are big. You could be sitting there 4 inches flaccid.
It depends on the body.
That's true. But so Rodney Dangerfield was shaped like an ostrich, right? Old man, kind of got the big belly, the skinny legs and arms and stuff. Sitting there, he's probably like 5 inches flaccid. So it probably looks huge. So I don't know. So I don't know if it's like 9.5 inches, but regardless, he was 46 years old.
Been a goddamn hog leg. Yeah.
He could have had a giant dick.
Yeah, man. No, I think, especially in today's society, the way our culture is, I think that a lot of people, if you come from poverty, like I come from poverty, right, and I've seen a tremendous amount of growth for myself in the past 5 years. And if you look back historically, a lot of niggas middle-aged, like back in the day, let's say, niggas lived to 50 years old. Now niggas live to 80, shit and pissing themselves. But, I think you reach a point where, you either settle into the fucking groove, you make it to the top, nigga, or you fucking walk off a mountain. Fuck,
And that's 100% true. But there's also another thing that I'm learned, because a lot of these are like you're talking about. You came from abject poverty. You can't, you learned lessons from, the people above you. There was a lot of poison pills in the things that people, told us. So like back in the, days, they told you got to grow up, graduate high school, you either go to college, you get a job, you work fucking forever, regardless if you like it or not. You know what I mean?
And
then it's not the way that has to be.
Everything on credit.
And you buy everything on credit. So I've been reading a lot about things, experiences, going back to my the thing. I used to read a lot of comedy, stand-up comedy bios, like biographies and shit about like their experiences, because I like experiences. I like to hear people's experiences. It's like when somebody's like you hear one of the like Tony Robbins or one of those guys online. They're like, all you got to do is just focus and you'll get there and you'll be a millionaire. It's like, no, motherfucker. Tell me step by step, day by day, what you did, and you know what I mean. That's what's gonna help. I don't want to fucking be like, I just focused and I got on.
I think if the niggas chase the money, and this is real talk. If you chase the money like you chase pussy when you ain't had none, nigga, and you don't let go of that soul fucking driver in you, okay, regardless of the collateral fucking damage, nigga, you'll reach the top in record time.
Chasing that pussy?
Chasing the money as if it was pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like when you didn't have no in-house, and you was like, God damn, nigga, I need to get some cutty, right? And if you grab that money with the same attitude and drive that you do that, you'll be unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? But when you a family nigga, it's hard to shift priorities around and manage time and, tend to the wife and the kids. And
here we go again, you know, the magic light bill, right? It's hard to devote time to other things because business hours, like if I'm at work punching the time clock, you know, and some of the things that I need to do are in specific, you know, 8 to 5, 8 to 4, you know, 9 to 3, whatever like that, or maybe what I need to do is travel, but I can't be in two places at the same time. It makes it incredibly, it makes it really fucking hard, man, to bust a move. So you got to figure it out.
But here's
man.
the
You
thing,
gotta
though.
be like, am I cool to bounce the moves,
Have
balance the bills for the month and go out here and grab this bitch like a pit?
Have you ever heard? Well, I guess I don't know. I guess it's not a phrase or an adage, but I've heard it before said several different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And the simplest like phrasing I've ever heard it as is, if you want to buy a book on how to be a better parent, you're already on your way to be a better parent.
Yeah. 100%.
So just the fact that you want to do something, just the fact that you want to do something,
you have to be willing.
is your first step on the journey.
Willing, though.
To me, it's not failing, man, and I've said it because I've tried it 1,000 times, and I've failed 999.9 different ways. To me, the scariest thing is having never tried, sitting on the fucking couch and watching life pass me by, and never trying my hand at anything. But what I've realized in the situation that I'm in, coming from the poverty that I did, is that as much as I love my dad, he taught me to be a poor man, right? He taught me how to do a lot of things. It's made me extremely resourceful. It's helped me provide for my family. But the social crowd that I came up in, everyone was poor. So therefore, I've had to, over the past, 15 better years, I've had to unlearn 90% of what I was taught and change the way of thinking and behaviors that sustained generational poverty. And so...
See, that's where I got a leg up over you. Nobody ever taught me anything.
Yeah. Well, it's
I had nobody there.
Time. I had to take it down one brick at a time and bring it back. But, I'm finally reaching a point where, fuck them. The world's going to do what the world's going to do. And, I think that's the biggest part that I had to understand. I just got to figure out a way to snowball myself with the world. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a million motherfuckers that want to give you their money. You know what I'm saying? You just got to tell them on whatever day it is why they want to give you their money. You got to remind them why they want to give you their money. Why? Because they're going to swipe a fucking card. They're going to go punch a time clock somewhere. You know what I mean? But if you can get some dollars working for you, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you essentially a plantation owner. You know what I'm saying? And just your dollars are slaves instead of humans. You know what I mean? And that's the way you going to eat.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
You got to have...
I was trying to make a point. I was trying to make a point before you start getting all Leonard Skinner on me. What I was trying to say, because I'm trying to make you feel better, because I feel bad that you're in a bad mood.
No, I'm okay.
Or that you had a rough
week.
week. I'm sorry. I feel bad that you had a rough week. I feel bad you have a rough week.
Yeah.
So like I said, I've been looking at this, trying to look at everything in a different light, because the way I was looking at it, it's fucking abject terror. Is like, you wake up, you're like, the window's closing, the fucking walls are closing in. That will age you quicker than just working the same job for 40 fucking years and think you're doing okay. Yeah. I like to look at it as, every day that I wake up, if I spent some time trying to learn something, if I spent some time, any time, working on the podcast, trying to find a building to grow in, calling people about the next harvest that pops up to fucking pre-sell some stuff, looking for a different job, trying to fucking tell my wife I want to eat her ass that night, I've made a step forward. And I try to do it every single day. No, I have my moments of terror.
The fact that you just said you tell her instead of ask her, that shows immense growth within an individual.
Yeah, so I'm like, I walk up, we hug, and I whisper in her ear like, I'm a getting them guts tonight. And she's like, I haven't even fucking woke up this morning, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she's like we have a Keurig maker because we're fancy as fuck. And we got to clean it. We got to descale it, I guess, because, that's how the Swedish people get back at us. And she got to run vinegar through it and clean all that stuff. She got them little shorts on, little bubble ass hanging out. I get on my knees. I put my face up there while she fights back a little bit because I know I can get at least 16 to 18 seconds of ass to face play before she swipes me away or climbs off the counter or stuff like that.
You
know
got
what I
to
mean?
be careful, okay? You got to be careful on the early morning ass because most women fart when they sleeping.
I don't give a shit. I'll eat her ass after she took a shit before she wiped. No, dude, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, I'm a fucking horn dog. I'm a straight, to quote my man, Russell Jones, oh, dirty bastard, dirt. Baby, I'd eat the shit right out from your ass. Damn. This goes out to all the pretty girls, even the ugly girls too, because to me, you're pretty too, baby.
Damn.
But every day that I wake up, man, even the fact that you're sitting there wondering, you're thinking, you're plotting, you're rubbing your hands together like a mad scientist rapper. You're looking for ways. You are 100% further ahead of the game than most of the motherfuckers out there that aren't even doing that. So like okay, I'll give you a good example.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to be a stand-up comic, right? And in 6th grade, I had a teacher, Mr. Gross, and he was a wrestling coach too, and he was my wrestling coach. And by the way, I fucking sucked at wrestling. I won 1 match out of like 2 years, but whatever. He came to me and he goes, you're kind of funny. He's like, why don't you ever consider stand-up comedy? And so I was like, it never occurred to me before then that I wanted to do stand-up comedy. So, years go by. I was like, oh, I want to be a stand-up comic. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, senior year, stuff like that. I'm like, I want to be a stand-up comic. I come from a little fuckhole town. You don't got a lot of opportunity. So it's not like, so I'm like, what I want to do. So I joined the Navy. The Navy sends me out to San Diego. San Diego is it's got the Comedy Store, like in LA. They got one in La Jolla. Within 2 months of me being in San Diego, I told myself, I was a shy kid. And I'm like, this is my opportunity. This goes back to saying, like, if I never took a shot, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, I got to try it. So one day I called some friends up. I was like, hey, take me up to open mic night on a Sunday night. I'm going to try it. And I got up there, right? And the first joke I ever did on stage in front of people was I said I wanted to get up on stage. It's my first time on stage. I want to impress you guys with my, like, expansive vernacular. So I looked up a word and I saw, I forgot how the joke went. It was something about pedophile, and I thought it was somebody who did your nails on your feet, like a manicure. Horrible joke, right? Fucking horrible joke. Just was not good.
Nigga. That's funny as
But
fuck.
But I still did the rest of the 3 minutes, and I did okay, and I felt good, right?
Yeah.
And it was that moment that I went, you know what? I took that step. So from this moment on, no matter what happens in my life, I know I can no longer say I didn't try, right? And so I did a lot of time on stage. I failed a lot. I got booed off stage. I bombed. I felt like shit. I was borderline suicidal. It happened a lot. I had good shows. I had standing ovations. You know what I mean? I had comics that hey, I want you to come do a show with me because that was who I was. And so I learned a little bit from that. And then when I started meeting people, and they're like, oh, I want to do stand-up comedy, or I want to be a singer, or I want to go on stage, but I'm afraid to. And then I would tell them, it's like, the second you decide that you want to get up there in front of people and you do it one time, I think I made the statistic up or I read it somewhere. Once you stood up in front of people and you told a joke or you sang a song or you played an instrument, you've done what 94% of the population cannot do. Yeah. That cannot do it. Cannot get up in front of people. They cannot speak. They can't tell a joke. They can't play an instrument. They can't sing.
Yeah.
And it's not that they can't, it's that they won't. They can't drag that out of themselves. Their fear is so fucking great.
I see it all the time in our meetings, man. Niggas lock up.
So at this point, no matter what fear and abject terror I have, that I wake up and I go, I'm not doing this, and that's just my self-deprecating nature. That's my evil Jiminy Cricket. That's my bird across the bear, where it's like, I'm not good at this. I'm gonna fail. I'm not going fast enough. Meek Mill's got fucking 4 albums out, and I'm fucking still trying to pay the rent. I still at least made that first step where I can't look back and regret.
Yeah, fuck no, man.
But,
Fuck all that, man.
but, and I, you know, you call it God, you call it Allah, you call it Vishnu, you call it whatever you want. Most people call it the universe. George Carlin called it the great electron. It's that fucking, it's that force, that binding force that connects every one of us, that makes all of us human. We all have teeth and elbows and eyebrows. And it's not my time. It's not tomorrow. And it's probably not next week.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen. And it's going to happen at some point. Because all that fear and all that worry, that's not nothing. That's not just something that happens and floats away like a fucking fart in the wind. That's something. That is a fire. The Jews call it Eish Tamed. It's the continuous fire that burns inside you. And it's there somewhere. And it creates that fear. And it creates that abject terror. And that doubt. And the best of us, the people that make it, they still push through it. Because even though you're like, I'm trying to get on, I need to do this, you're still trying to do it. You're not letting it cripple you or stop you. You're not going to be like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to get in that dozer and that's it. Because there is 94% of the world that's doing that. There's plenty of people that ain't going to do it. There's plenty of them. There's tons of them. The world is full of them. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a motherfucker that ain't going to do it. So that fear, you know how the Marines have that saying where they say fear is weakness leaving the body? Or pain is weakness leaving the body?
Yeah.
Well, that fear is the last throes of that fire inside you that's trying to give up. And it's trying to win. And it's still burning. And it's still getting pieces of you. But every day it gets less and less. You ain't going to win. And then it gets quieter. You ain't going to win. You ain't going to win. Rodney Dangerfield, going back to that. 46 years old, when most motherfuckers are broke down, they're old, their wife is disgusting and obese, she got diabetes, they got to start looking at Medicaid and retirement. He said, hell no, fuck no. I got a big hog and a robe. I'm going to make it. Because it's out there.
Yeah,
Because
it's
it
out
ain't
there,
our
my
time
nigga.
yet. Because it ain't out. Because when you got to ask the universe for it, and by asking, you got to do it. You got to say, "Is this it?" The universe is gonna say no, and you open that door. Is this it? The universe is gonna say no, that's not it. The universe ain't gonna point at the door. It's just gonna tell you if it's it or not.
No,
Is
you
this
gotta
it?
kick that
No,
bitch open,
no,
nigga.
that's not
You
it.
just gotta kick that bitch. You just gotta kick the door, nigga, and take it. I mean, that's just, that's what it is. That's what's gonna have to happen. That's what.
And the other thing that freaks me out is, and this is a good phrase too, is comparison is the thief of joy. So I look at all those guys, those young guys, they got the podcast that fucking hit after like 4 episodes and they're touring on it and stuff. They're going to Australia. The last podcast and the left live in fucking Australia. Well, that's their time and that's their journey. That's not me looking and go, man, that should be me, because that's not me, or else it would be me.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of buying into that abject fear. I'm tired of waking up with that panic and letting that panic be like, that's it. You're just gonna worry and be scared and think about that, and that's all you got, and that's your life. Because I've seen too many people close to me. Like I said, my grandfather worked for Ford his whole life. He woke up and he went there and he worked 16-hour shifts and he got no sleep and he fucking went and did a horribly shitty job. And he died on a couch, smoking a cigarette with an oxygen tank fucking hose up his nose, talking about life as a bitch. You know why? Because that fear got to him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to do
fuck
it.
another nigga
He's like,
money,
yeah,
man.
I got to provide. I got to provide. Well, you can provide. I provide. My stupid ass provides. I pay bills. I buy groceries. I spend time with my kids. I try to eat my wife's ass. Providing is nothing. We've done it. You do it. I do it. A lot of people do it. You good job. High five. Nobody fucking cares about that. You got to do more than provide. And you got to show, you got to prove to the universe that you can do more than provide. And if you can do it and the universe nods at you, go, yeah, hell yeah. All right, that's that door. That's it right there. And that'll be your time. And that'll be my time. And that'll be the time that somebody comes on and says, yeah, no, you got, or it's the time you find the building, or the time that we get everything together, or the fucking one person that puts the money up, or the email that says, hey, I like your podcast, let's add it to the network.
Damn.
But as long as you keep going, as long as you keep asking, as long as you keep getting them no's, that ain't the door, that ain't the door, that ain't the door. And that's when you find it. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter where you are in life. If you keep looking for it, you're going to find it. And that is 100% guarantee every fucking time. Every person, no matter where they are in life, they succeeded is because they kept looking until the universe is like, yep, nope, you're good. That's it. That's your door.
I've been sitting here overanalyzing what you're saying, and a weird reach around kind of way. This is probably the most positive fucking message that we've ever had.
No, it is, because I'm telling you, like, like I said, I wake up with that fear. I open my eyes every morning for some weird reason at 4:16 to take a piss, and that's when I think about my credit cards that are late, and that's when I think about my relationship with my oldest son. That's when I think about winter's coming. That's when I think about, like, oh, I only got 33 hours a week at this job. That's when I think about, like, oh, I'm 38 years old and I'm fucking 40 pounds overweight. But that's human fear. That's just the natural fear that comes with being alive. But that's piddly, insignificant shit that 94% of the population gives into. Yeah, I suck. I shouldn't do that. My dad was a fisherman. I'm going to be a fisherman. Well, I'm not going to be a fisherman. I'm not going to sit on the couch with a fucking oxygen tank smoking a cigarette dying, waiting for fucking death to take me because, well, I lived a good life. And you're doing it too. You're putting in you want it. You bought the Better Parent book. You're well on your way to being a better parent. And you got to find that time slot. You got that's when it opens up and says, "Here we go, man. This is it. You're gonna find it."
I read a bunch of these niggas' books and shit, and all them niggas say it kind of comes on them in a rush. Like, shit was like, I mean, a lot of niggas born with money, but the ones that climbed out the mud, nigga, they like, one day it wasn't here and the next day it was. That's kind of how it comes on, nigga.
There's that story. I followed
progress in motion, but
I followed this guy on Instagram today. 18 years old. He was a felon, right? And as a felon, you don't have a lot of outlook. You're kind of fucked social wise. And then he didn't have a car, so he walked to the library every day, and he's like, dude, it's a new era. There's people making money online. I gotta find a way. He walked to the library, sat online, looking for ways to do it. Long story short, he makes 7 figures now. Going from a fucking felon where everybody's like, you got no outlook, you're fucked. And he's like, no, I found it. And him looking, that was his time in the universe. And it's not like you're not finding it fast enough. It's not like, hey, man, it's not like some old man at the top of the hill dog whistling to you like, come on, you don't want it bad enough, you don't get up here. To be honest with you, if you look at all those people that say it, those are the people that already got on. So it's easy for them to go, yeah, dude, you don't want it bad enough. Well, motherfucker, it's easy once you're paying your bills and stuff, and now you're standing at the top of the pyramid going, yeah, I could do it. And that goes back to what I said, when nobody ever describes their day in, day out, hourly, what they did, their panic, their fear. They just say, yeah, focused. The process. And I love the process. I'm learning to love it. I'm learning to love failure. I'm learning to love the slow crawl, to 1,000 downloads. I'm learning to love no likes. I'm learning to love no, I can't find a better job. I'm learning to love, oh, fuck, there's no buildings available. I'm learning to love this door closed and this door closed. Because that's that old sales thing where it's like you got to get 100 no's. And once you get the 100 no's, that one person will say yes. It's the law of averages.
It's a number.
You gotta get them no's. You gotta get the failures out. You have to. There's nobody besides the Trump family and fucking Dan Bilzerian who experienced failure. Didn't experience failure. You build your life upon a fucking stack of failures, and that's what your pyramid's made of. Your pyramid's not made out of win, win, win. No, the first like 18 floors is failure. It's dirty, disgusting, self-doubt, failure. I didn't do this, but you didn't give up. And that's your first 10 floors. And then your next fucking 10 floors are going to be like, okay, I can kind of see this, but I'm not just going to let it plateau. I'm not going to be like, all right, this is it. This is cool. You know what I mean? Like, I could look at my life. Somebody third party could look at how my life, and they go, oh, you got a nice house. Oh, you got a decent job. Oh, you got a wife with an edible ass. You know, you're fine. Well, that's fine maybe for you. That's fine for me to go, yeah, this is good.
I'm not content.
I'm done.
I think that's the problem that I'm lacking. I think that that's what makes me different from a lot of my peers, is that a lot of niggas would be content. I'm not content.
Well, and here's the thing, too.
Yeah, I'm not fulfilled. I'm not fulfilled in my journey what I'm doing, what I want to be.
And this is what I'm trying to realize, and you should realize, there ain't no finish line. When you make where you think you're going to make it, then you push beyond that. And then you push beyond that. And then you push beyond that. And then you die. If you choose to sit back and kind of look at everything, you go, okay, cool. And then you get back up and you push beyond that. It's like Alexander the Great. I forgot where, when he gazed upon his vast empire and he wept because there was no more worlds to conquer. Well, motherfucker, build a rocket ship. Go somewhere else and conquer.
Yeah.
But there's no end. There's no stopping. There's no like, cool, I crossed the finish line, put my hands up, drink my Gatorade, get my pictures taken. Donezo, son. No.
Yeah.
It's got to be that. It's
That's
got to be
why
that
rich
H
people
Tom
keep
man,
getting
that
rich and
continuous
niggas, 'cause they
fire
don't
inside
stop.
you. Yeah,
Like,
because they're like, I want more, and that you got
Amazon
people that are going, well, how much money is
Amazon
money is too much? Yeah, Jeff Bezos. You ever see that picture of him when he started off? He's in that that office.
That fucked up little room. He was gonna call Amazon something else. I think somebody else already had the name or something in the beginning. But then you got the Microsoft nigga. You got all these niggas. They could stop at any moment and be absolutely fucking, gangster rich for the rest of their fucking entire bloodlines, time on Earth. But they keep going. They don't
And look
stop.
at Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates, the whole, I don't know if it's true, but they say about Bill Gates, for 7 years, he didn't take a day off or go on vacation, anything like that. Whatever, if it's true, if it's not, whatever. But he's at the point now where he's one of the richest people in the world, but he chooses to keep innovating, and he donates a large portion of his net worth to charity.
Yeah, they got that
which
foundation.
ultimately,
I think they're gonna give everything to that foundation. The Bill and whatever Gates Foundation, his woman, and then I think Warren Buffett. There's a couple of them that's gonna like supposedly upon death donate like the vast amounts of their wealth to these foundations, which is kind of scary because then you're putting a lot of people on a board in charge of all this money, and do they do the right thing?
Well, I
don't know.
That's ultimately the point, though. Is like ultimately, I think if there's a meaning to life, it's got to be you're in service to other fucking people. That's you look at everybody wants to point fingers at like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and stuff. It's like, all right, I use Amazon. I fucking I use a computer. I probably use Windows.
I love Amazon. I got Windows.
They do, and they donate a lot of their salary.
The only thing Apple I really run is the old school iPod, and I love the classic.
But you like ultimately, to me, that would be the tip of the pyramid. You get so big that you're like, I'm worth like $68 billion. I'm sure like 40 billion of that can go to finding some way to making the world better.
Yeah, man.
And that's like that's the tip of your pyramid.
The amount of people's lives that amount of wealth could change is fucking insane.
It's fucking insane. I don't even.
But that's
the America really does have a lot of opportunity, man. Our quality of life is kind of the way we choose to live our lives here is kind of fucked up. But when you look at the fact that a lot of people around the world don't even have clean fucking water, I mean that's fucking we take so much for fucking granted here. It's crazy. But then again, the luxuries that we have are extremely fucking expensive. You know, look at electricity. I mean, my Amish neighbors. I mean, they shit outside. They got a porta potty. I mean, they ain't a hold that shit in. I mean, the nigga comes and services it, but and they seem happy as fuck. I mean, their kids are pretty fucking well adjusted. They're fucking. I don't think they have any of the problems that the kids now have, like with the internet and shit. But fuck it, I like Amazon.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, to summarize it all, it's like we're trying. Just the fact that we're trying puts us way ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's
And
easy to put.
I think I brought this.
As Americans,
Well, it's
we're impatient, Sean. Like, we're super impatient people, and we expect everything because our life is clicking by. Our life is calling by. Our life is pretty accessible, right? So a lot of times, I think we expect progress to come on the same terms as clicking by, you know, and it don't quite work that way. Sometimes, I mean, you know, when the times do, I'm sure it does, but it's not as simple. So a lot of times, you know, like me, I take losses more personal than I should. I take them. They weigh on me sometimes, because you know, you set expectations and earmarks for yourself. But the timelines don't always match, and the losses will come a lot quicker than the successes. But it's hard sometimes to be like one day to the next, or a month. A month is a relatively short amount of time, but when you're expecting that win, dude, a month is a fucking eternity. You know what I mean?
Well, I've been looking at it like, you know, like I said. So I'm gonna kind of talk about Navy SEALs here for a second. When I was in the Navy, I met a lot of them. I dealt with a lot of them. Fuck no, I wasn't even close to it.
Oh, okay.
But because I was overseas during 9/11, we had a couple SEAL teams come through. And at the time when you're in the Navy, my job or my rate was aviation ordnanceman, and so the way that the Navy was organized was you had to have an ultimate source rating or a job that you picked that would qualify you to go into the SEAL program. So aviation ordnanceman at the time was an ultimate source rating that said, okay, well, if you're an aviation ordnanceman or a bosun's mate, that's a job that will, you know, you can transition into the SEAL Challenge program. Now I think SEALs are its own rate or job. They call them Special Operations SOs. But anyways, the Navy SEALs, they actually have a lot of motivational ways to look at things. You know, I'm sure if you've been online, we've all seen that Navy SEAL admiral that's like, get up in the morning and make your bed. Because if you get up in the morning and make your bed, you've already accomplished your first task. Like, that's it. That will set the tone for the rest of the day. You've gotten up, and within the first minute of your day, you've set the tone for how your day is going to go by accomplishing things. The other one is they call embrace the suck. So in San Diego, if you go out to Coronado Island, you can see them train. The SEALs in the basic underwater demolition BUDS program, they run up and down the hills. They fucking get in the chilly ass, you know, Pacific Ocean water. They're swimming. They're chafing. They're not getting any sleep. They're embracing the suck. They're embracing those moments that are building you towards what you want to be. You have to fail. You have to fail to win. You have to. There's no winning without failure. It's hand in hand. It's mutually exclusive. You cannot win unless you've failed. And then one of the things, I think I've talked about this before, and I listen to this guy once a week, and I think you should start doing it. And the motherfucker's name is I forgot what I think it's John, but his nickname is Jocko. Yeah. His name's Jocko Willink. And you look at this guy, and your first impression is like, A, yes, I can see why his name is Jocko. He looks like a Jocko. And B, I can see that this man has killed people. But there's this there's like this, I think it's like a minute or 2 minutes on YouTube that I listen to, and it's an excerpt from the podcast that he does, and it's called Good. And so he's talking about like whenever he had a problem or one of his direct subordinates would come to him with an issue or something going on, and they say, you know, I tell you what's going wrong, or I tell you these problems, and I know what you're gonna say. And he's like, what do I say? And he's like, you're gonna say good. And he explains, yeah, because out of every bad there's some good coming from it, which goes back to that learning moment. So he goes, you didn't get that job? Good. If you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you got tapped out, good. You didn't get the promotion, good. You didn't get that part you wanted to build your car, good. These are learning moments. And if you stop looking at it like a fucking brick to the face when you fail, if you look at it like, cool, good, I failed, move on. I learned. This wasn't the way. I wasn't supposed to do it that way. That's not how you do it because it didn't work. It's going to work. It will work. It has worked. There's trillions of examples of it working. This way isn't going to work for me. But you keep going.
Yeah.
So instead of getting bummed out, getting depressed, going this, fucking giving up on yourself, you go, good. I didn't get that job. I got that email that said, hey, you got the biggest dick in the world, but you're not going to fuck. Well, good. That moves me on to the next person. And it's hard for me, but I've tried to start looking at stuff like that. Because, A, be honest with you, it kind of fucking puts things into perspective and makes you go, instead of, it's all choice. Everything's choice. You could fucking go, yeah, this sucks and it didn't work. Or you can just be like, glass half full. Like, all right, good. That's not my way. That's not my way. That's not the perception. Is that doesn't work for me. That's not what was supposed to work for me. It's not that I did it wrong. And, granted, this fucking couple's hand in hand. Like, I did it to the best of my ability. I full 100% went after it and it didn't work. Okay. I didn't do it right. Or it didn't. That's not how I'm supposed to do it. And that's how, in terms of stand-up comedy, that's how comics find their voice. Because when you first get up on stage, you're always going to want to mimic your favorite comic. And I did it. My favorite comic is Dave Attell and Bill Burr. And I always wanted to sound like I fucking had a New York accent. Oh, yeah, no, fuck that guy. But that's not me. And it failed, and I got booed, and I didn't get laughs, which is the absolute worst. But then eventually you get sick of it. Like, the times that I try to be funny and I'm not funny versus those times I'm sitting there ranting to somebody or I'm going off on a tangent, I'm holding court to a bunch of people, and it's like, well, that's me. That's my voice. That's how I'm funny. That's how people know me, is when I'm going off on some fucking silly rant and I'm not thinking about it and I'm just flying off the cuff bitching about something and people are dying. That's my voice. That's me. That's the funny. That's Sean. That fucking people are like, that dude's funny as shit. But if you're trying to be something you're not, in the immortal words, back again to Russell Jones, old dirty bastard, if my people know who I am, and if I come at them a different way, they're not going to respect me. It's that hard way to find your way to discover who you are and what you are, because people, I know that it's like the political thing, snowflakes, but people are snowflakes because no two snowflakes are the same. And that's how you find what snowflake you are, what shape you are, and who you are, and what kind of person you are, and how you get through life,
I get what
and
you're
how
saying,
you take the hits.
But it's kind of funny. You are funny because people have been referenced as snowflakes a lot here lately. But I get the analogy.
Because okay, well we're grains of sand. No two grain. If you magnify a grain of sand,
no two grains of sand.
The grains of sand are 100% different.
All right. On the difference note, I think that's a good place to wind up, Sean. You're not gonna get any more. You can't top that.
No, you can't. You can't top grains of sand.
You can't top it. No, you can't top it.
So no matter what happens, you go out, you go to work tomorrow, and you put on the glasses, the different color glasses. And you look at people, and you can, instead of judging and looking at failure, you look at the people and you say, I can see where you gave up. I can see how you let failure get to you. I can see how you let that no punch you in the face so hard you just stayed down for the count. And then you look at the people that are succeeding. You look at the people making the money. You look at the people, oh, look at that rich guy. He's fucking, how much money you need, dude? Well, it's not about that. It's about this guy still doing what he knows, who he is, and how he does things. and it keeps working for him. It's like a game of Operation. He found a way to get that bone out of that little fucking piece without hitting the sides and making it go bah! And he keeps doing it because it works for him. And what works for him doesn't work for you because that's him, not you. But if you're going to compare him to you, you're going to hear bah! Every time. Every fucking time. And then you're going to get all bummed out from hearing bah! Or you can be like, I don't want to hear bah! I'm tired of being fucking tired. I'm tired of being upset. I'm tired of hating myself because I don't think I'm as good as somebody else. Because I'm not out there. Because by now I'm not making.
Fuck these other niggas, man. Like cool. It's cool. I love humans. I hate people. Nigga, fuck them niggas. Fuck their money. Nigga, get my own. You know what I'm saying? You know, it ain't nothing to it, man. Like real talk.
So because we're not making $465,329 a year selling weed doesn't mean we're not going to make $465,329 at all. It just means we haven't found it yet. It's because we haven't found the way to avoid that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm tired of hating myself. I'm tired of being upset. I'm tired of listening. And if you listen to other people all day long, you listen, well, blah, 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 you should do this. Maybe you should, if you look at them a little bit and go, maybe those no's hit you a little too hard. Maybe you got like when you play dodgeball in gym class and shit, and you got Spalding backwards on your forehead because you got hit with the ball. Maybe that no is backwards on your forehead. Maybe you're looking at somebody with an on between their fucking eyebrows. It's like, all right, you let that motherfucker hit you too hard. Because a no, I'm going to stack that. And I'm going to be standing on a bunch of no's one day. And that's my pyramid, our no's and failures. And this year didn't happen. And it didn't happen again. And it didn't happen again. I don't care how high somebody's pyramid is. In fact, I'm going to look at somebody's pyramid and go, I want my pyramid to be that high. And that their pyramid's cool. My pyramid's going to be shaped like this. It's going to have some little corridors. It's going to have a little bathroom right here. Maybe like a food court, a Starbucks, a Wetzel's Pretzels. I don't know. That's me. Little hot dog with pepperonis on it with fucking pretzels and shit. A little cheese on the fries. Maybe somebody likes broccoli.
Broccoli.
So, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, that was that was invaluable, nigga. You ought to thank the sponsors.
Shout out to Wetzel's Pretzels.
Yeah, all day.
Shout out to Wetzel's Pretzels. Shout out to Hasbro Operation or Milton Bradley. Hasbro or one of those motherfuckers. Shout out to the Trump 2020 campaign.
They make gummy bears, don't they?
No, you're thinking
Hasbro
Haribo.
makes gummy, yeah, something like that.
Haribo. The Wilder World of Haribo.
Yeah, maybe.
And
so.
you know what? Here's the thing, too. And I'm even going to say this. This is how serious I am about this. And this is going to shock you down to your powdered nuts.
Go.
Donald J. Trump. Yeah, his dad gave him a sizable loan. That's what happens when you come from a rich family. But Donald Trump wasn't just some motherfucker that, like, he wasn't just some, like, like the kid, like the family from, like, the Dow Chemical family or DuPont.
Yeah.
Where that guy, like, was fucking his daughter or something like that. He's not like that Brock fucking kid that raped that chick by the dumpster because his family's well-to-do. No. He went out and did it. And he keeps doing it.
You say what you want about the Trump nigga. That nigga made himself a brand, and he might look like a fucking some chewed up fucking old ass gum on a beach, but that nigga know how to put it together. That nigga made himself president.
Like I liked him before he became president because I think there's very succinct, specific qualities a leader needs to have. But whatever. I liked him up till that point. He's clearly a successful man. Yeah, he fucked around with debt. But I mean, he found a way to make it work. So
Yeah.
you can wallow around in the negativity of things, or you can use things as inspiration. You can say,
You
I'm
can't
stuck
be
in
mad
shit.
At that nigga. You can't be mad at that nigga by playing out the handbook. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you hand somebody a handbook and you say, this is what you can't do, anything else in between is good for game. And if you can make it on that, and I think people hate because they look at their own situations and really they're comparing themselves. And that's, again, what you went into earlier. Comparison to another man is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Because you just ain't making the moves that he making, you know, and his moves might be different from your moves, but you can't hate this nigga because he has success. And whatever.
Now,
form
to
it
be
may
fair, I do have to say this. As a world leader, there's issues because if you work for a company, here's the best simple explanation I can give on it. Say you work for a company of 1,000 people, right? If the president of that company every day comes out and says fat people are stupid, eventually you're going to have some people that are going to say fat people are stupid.
Yeah, but can I give you another tidbit? Is Trump is a salesman, and he's gonna let a lot of niggas know what they want. And, you know, most people are gonna call people fat and stupid on their own. That's just the world we live in, Sean.
No, I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
You know,
But yeah, so if you're
most
standing in
people's
shit,
dads
you can
ain't
either
good
go, I got
dads.
shit on me,
Most
or you can
people
go,
that
I
to
want out of
church
this shit.
ain't- Yeah, most people that go to church are not, you know, true followers of Christ, you know. So I mean, you can pick any institution and any person apart, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, as a dad, as a husband, as an employee, as so many other things in the world, you know, I come up short on a lot of things, but that does not discount all the things that I do accomplish. You know what I mean? It's you know.
Right.
It's just, you know, so, I mean, there's two sides to the coin, definitely. But people, humans, we almost always tend to focus on the negative more than the positive.
Right. So like I said, you have to flip the script on your perception of things. You can either be pissed off,
And the best
or you
two
can
things-
or you can
the
say,
best
I don't
two
want to be
things you
pissed
can
off.
Look at is you can judge a society based on its leadership and its prisons. So that right there sums up our country as a whole. So our leaders and our prisons are a direct reflection of us as a society.
And on that note, we should cut this off. I gotta get this motherfucker edited up.
Yeah.
Sunday night,
Make it
baby.
happen.
I'm gonna have this bitch up every Sunday night. Thank you for the people that listen to us. Whatever network wants to pick us up one day, I appreciate it. Shout out to Frito-Lay for some reason. I don't know. I'm a fat bitch. So, no matter what happens, if you're standing there in an unemployment line, if you get fired, if somebody calls you on vacation and tells you they're not going to pay you anymore, if you put a lot of effort in for somebody else, if you try and you fail, no matter what happens, never go quietly. Peace.